Okay, so hello everybody. Welcome to the Study Abroad and Engineering workshop. Today we'll go over why you should study abroad, what might be stopping you, as well as some of your different options of where you can go to study abroad as an engineer. If you have any questions today, you can ask them in the chat throughout the presentation, or you can maybe just let me know. You can ask your questions verbally as well. Again, we are recording, so if you don't want to be recorded, just turn your mic off and you can change your name as well. Yeah. All right. Okay, so what might be some reasons for studying abroad? If anybody would like to share maybe what they think might be a reason they want to study abroad. All right. Let's see. So experience living by yourself in a different culture. All right, that was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to study abroad. I like that. All right. So for us, I guess some of the benefits of studying abroad might be that you can learn some hard skills. So maybe something that an experience you might not be able to do at UCI. For example, study abroad opportunities include maybe doing research in a lab at another university or potentially doing internships abroad. Again, you also up yourself to academic like experiences and classes that might not be offered here at UCI. So for example, let's say you wanted to take like a mechatronics course, and that's not something that we offer here at UCI, but that is something that you could take at another university. Second of all is if you want to practice soft skills, um, of course, living in a different culture exposes you to all different types of new challenges, and it can kind of help you learn how to adapt to a new environment. And then the other thing is just because nobody else is really doing it, there's a statistic that about 13% of UCI grads actually go abroad. And the percentage for engineering is even lower. I think it's about like 2 to 3% or something like that. I think every year we have around like 30 to 40 people who actually do go abroad. So it can be something that helps you stand out. And last of all, it will give you an international perspective. And what I mean by this is you meet a lot of different people when you go to study abroad that are not from where we're from, essentially. An example of that would be, so this is my class from when I went abroad. I studied abroad in Taiwan about 3 years ago in the summer for a language program. So these are all the different people that I met, and they were all from all around the world, and I got to experience a lot of different new things by talking to each one of them. So where might you want to go? And I'll open up the floor to you guys. You guys can just say it out, put it in the chat, whatever. Spain, Korea, okay. Germany, awesome. Japan, the Netherlands, I like it. Belgium, okay. That's great. Those are all awesome places to go. Let's keep going. So what might be stopping you from studying abroad? Does anybody have any ideas? Maybe something that they've thought of that they come to this presentation with, hoping to get answered? Okay, class requirements, finances, classes. All right, so I guess mostly classes. Oh, the question was, what might be stopping you from studying abroad? Senior design, the coronavirus. Yeah, I kind of realized that. I guess since you brought it up, the thing about studying abroad is usually you want to start planning your um, program about a year before you actually go abroad. So it's a pretty bad time to travel right now, but you can start planning now. But anyways, so I think the most important thing was classes, but I believe we'll cover finances first. So money. So where do you get the money to study abroad? I think there's a misconception that it's very expensive to travel, very expensive to study abroad. Yes, it's true. It is expensive to travel, but for studying abroad, you'll be surprised that it would actually be a comparable price to something you might pay just living at UCI. First of all, financial aid does follow you. So regardless of what program that you're on, you'll still get if you get financial aid, you'll still get financial aid. Your financial aid is adjusted to the cost of the program that you are participating in. So if your program costs more, you'll get more financial aid. There's also a lot of different scholarships that you can apply for. And then there's comparable costs of living, so tuition and also cost of living. So some scholarships that UCI offers are the UCI Engineering Travel Scholarship. Let me click through to this. Can you guys see this? Okay, cool. So if we look at the engineering major scholarships, there's the UCI School of Engineering Travel Scholarship, which I think it's about $500 to $1,000. Yeah, $500 to $1,000. So there's 2 to 4 awards every year. The only requirement is that you have to take an engineering course. Well, first of all, you have to be an engineer, but I'm pretty sure we all are. And then you have to take an engineering course while you're abroad. And remember how I said, like, there's about like 30 to 40 people in engineering, the school, who study abroad each year. And maybe about half of those people are taking engineering courses while abroad. And so if you do take an engineering course while you're abroad, the likelihood of getting this scholarship is actually pretty high. So there's also there are other UCI scholarships. This PDF kind of has a whole list of them. I've included a link to the slides, so I guess you guys can look over that. And then there's UC EAP scholarships. So UC EAP is the UC Education Abroad program. They also offer scholarships. They offer scholarships for every semester, so fall and spring, as well as summer scholarships. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, so there's a lot of different ones that you can apply for when you submit your UCAP application. And then there's also scholarships, outside scholarships. I think this just links to a US government one. Yeah, don't travel right now. But there's a lot of different ones that the US government offers, as well as scholarships offered by your host university or country. So for example, say I'm going abroad to Japan, the Japanese government might offer a scholarship for American students to go to travel in Japan. And again, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask them throughout the presentation. Okay, so UCAP tuition costs. So again, UCAP is the UC Education Abroad program. The cost of tuition happens to be about the same as the cost that we pay at UCI. So here we will see about $6,300. This is an example from the University of Edinburgh, fall semester. So the tuition is slightly more than we pay for fall quarter, but you have to remember that this is a semester system. So you'll end up getting more units for the classes that you do take. And then the rest of the expenses are The pre-departure, incidental bookings and transportation, housing, and airfare are all kind of like cost of living costs. Yeah. Again, tuition costs for the UC Education Abroad system, you pay UCI tuition. Costs are adjusted for semester system, and essentially you're paying for the additional units that you would get from attending a semester system. IOP is the International Opportunities Program. It is basically anything else that is not part of UC EAP, and you'll pay regular tuition to the host university that would be for international or exchange students. And then cost of living, here's just a quick breakdown that I found online. Here in Irvine, you know, we probably pay anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month in rent alone. And so just comparing these to a couple of other cities, hopefully you can see that it's pretty comparable. Living in Irvine is pretty comparable to living to like a modest living standard in other big cities around the world. And okay, so classes. Let's go into classes.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, we do have quite a bit of options for different types of programs. So we'll go ahead and introduce you to a couple of them more in depth. And then, as mentioned, if you have any questions as we go through, feel free to let us know. But to start off, we have UCEAP. So that's the next slide. As Enoch mentioned, this is the UC Education Abroad program. So this is nice because it has programs in over 40 countries and across 10 different UC campuses. So there's tons of different options for you guys. This is really helpful because this counts towards your UC GPA. And once you've taken a course, it'll automatically be added to your UCI transcript. So it's really easy to get transferable courses. And I think this is the most popular way to kind of study abroad and make sure that you're still meeting degree requirements or GE requirements or things like that. If you don't find a program that you're interested in or something that kind of meets your needs, we do have international independent programs. So that's through IOP. And these programs are more tailored to your specific needs. So if you have a specific country in mind that isn't offered through UCEAP, or if you have a specific course that you want to take, or if there's certain dates that you want to do it that don't align with UCEAP, then this is a good option for you. It's basically anything outside of UCEAP. These are offered through international host universities or different organizations like that. And then this is valid for transfer credit. And then we also have some non-traditional programs. So we do have options to do kind of non-study. So if you wanted to do research or internships or even volunteer and teach and everything like that, we also have that available. And those can be done through international programs and independent programs. And then for the next slide, we do have kind of some classes that you can take. It's pretty common to take GE courses. So as you can see, you can take your GE Category 3, your GE Category 6. Your GE Category 8 is automatically fulfilled if you study abroad, so long as your course is 5 weeks and it's like a 4-unit course. So that's pretty easy to fulfill if you're going abroad. And then in terms of major requirements, I know that that is a big issue that comes up. I know that is something that stops a lot of people, but we really do have a lot of options to go abroad, and it is pretty easy to find courses that are transferable. I know personally speaking, I'm a mechanical engineering major, so we take courses like mechanics of structures and fluid dynamics, and there are some programs out there. I know one of the popular ones is Lund University in Sweden. So there's definitely programs out there that can get you major courses and major credit so that you won't stay off track.
All right, thank you. So continuing on, so those were, Carolina just talked about some of the programs you can do during the school year. So for summer programs, in case maybe you aren't able to fit a program in during the school year, you can always do a summer program. A couple of the ones that are offered are the UC Davis Summer Abroad program, the UC Riverside Summer Abroad, and UCAP summer programs. Ethan, you just asked a question. Is there an easy site to look at the courses that previous abroad students have not taken? To look at courses that have not taken, I guess any class that there are sites that you can look at to see what students have taken. I'm not sure about have not taken. I would depend on the host university. So you would probably have to cross-reference courses on their course catalog to classes that people have taken before. Okay. So going into summer programs. So here are some of the UC Davis Summer Abroad programs. UC Davis Summer Abroad is offered through UC Davis. It is similar to how the UC Education Abroad program works in that because you're taking classes in the UC system, they're automatically transferred into your transcripts after you finish the classes. I guess here are some examples of the ones that you can take. Maybe for mechanical engineers or chemical engineers, you could take a thermodynamics class in Iceland. I know some majors have to take economics courses as well that can be fulfilled, as well as a variety of engineering, computer science internships that UC Davis offers, and GEs. UC Riverside also offers a summer abroad program. They don't have too many classes that will fulfill major requirements, but of course, again, there's lots of GEs that they do have. And then for the UC Education Abroad program, for their summer programs, I believe these four are the four main ones. So again, I don't believe any of these programs cover major requirements. But they are essentially enrichment programs. So you'll be able to learn something and you'll also be able to do some sort of project. So if it is something that you're interested in, it will help you gain experience in engineering. But again, it won't help you fulfill any classes. And then of course, there's also summer research. The majority of research during the summer is in Asia. There's also research during the regular school year as well, in fall and spring. Here is the study abroad, page 4. There we go. Here's the study abroad page for research and internships abroad. You might want to note that the majority of them are in Asia, so Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China, and Singapore. I believe there is one in Israel as well, and a lot of these go on throughout the year. Some of them, and again, some of them are during the summer. For research, usually you will be assigned to some sort of lab at the host university. I believe you get to pick which professor you want to work with as well and what topic you want to work on. And then you will have the option of taking courses on the side. So you might be able to fulfill a couple of GEs, maybe take like 1 or 2 engineering classes on the side. And then internships are also offered through UC EAP. I don't know too much about the internships. I have yet to meet somebody that has done an internship abroad, but they do exist. They're out there. Typically, it will be through a university. So the university will pair you with a company in their country to do an internship. Question. For Tohoku, let's see, 4 to 5 courses. I believe you can take, it's kind of up to you how many courses you want to take. For that specific program, I believe 2 of the classes are one of the classes is a culture course and the other class is a language course. Based on, I met somebody who went to that program and then she also ended up taking I think biology course on the side as well. So I don't believe you have to take, it's more of a recommendation than So are major courses recommended to take abroad? Yes. So if you can find the class, then by all means take it. It's difficult to find major courses, but it's definitely possible. It just takes a lot of work. And we'll kind of get into how you can find classes at the end of this presentation, but it is very tedious. But if you can get it all to fit, it is a very rewarding experience. Okay, and then of course, I think earlier Ethan asked a question about classes that people have not taken. For classes that people have taken, you can take a look at the returnee list. You can contact students who have gone abroad and they release their information to other prospective students. Personally, when I went abroad to Taiwan, I looked up my program and then I emailed the guy like a whole list of questions, and he was nice enough to answer all of them. He gave me a lot of really good information that I wouldn't have found out otherwise. So if you are in that stage of your application process, I highly recommend it. And so I think looking at the RSVP form, we didn't have any fourth years, but I should mention this, that if you are a fourth year, it is very hard to go abroad. As you know, as engineering students, we all have to do senior design during our fourth year. For some majors, it's 2 quarters. For some majors, it's 1 quarter. For some majors, it's 3 quarters. But this restriction essentially blocks us from studying abroad because senior design has to be completed at UCI. The other thing is that 36 of your final 45 units must be completed at UCI. This is part of the residency requirement that the university enforces. That being said, your residency requirement can be waived with approval from a counselor. So for example, if you finish your degree in spring quarter, you can still study abroad the quarter after you graduated and postpone your graduation until the end of summer and go for a summer program. The same can be said if you finish your degree in winter quarter, then you can go abroad during your spring quarter if there's a program like such. Although you might miss graduation, but I guess but yeah, that is something that you can think about doing. Okay, so there's a question, where do I find all the classes offered and where are they offered just on the UCAP website? Let's see. Yeah, so I think if you're looking for classes, I would start with the study abroad office or the study abroad website in our current circumstances. If you go there, there's a lot of different options for, there's a lot of different options for what we can, they basically help you choose a program, but there's a lot of good resources here. But yeah, I would start here and then take a look at what programs that they offer. Of course, there's also the UCAP website, but I think the UCI Study Abroad website is a little bit more digestible in terms of information. So after you find a program or find a couple of programs, then you'll probably want to get into looking for classes for those specific programs. So usually my thought process for somebody who wants to study abroad is, first of all, where do you want to go? And once you pick that, then you can pick a couple of universities in that region and then start looking at their course catalogs to find out what classes you can take and where you can put them and make them fit. So there's another question. I was told that we could finish the senior design project within 1 to 2 quarters, depending on the project we get involved with. Is that correct? It depends on your major. I believe if you're in mechanical engineering, you're only required to do 1 quarter of senior design. again, there is the residency requirement. So if you are in a major that only has 1/4 of senior design, that might be something you can work out with your advisor to see what they have to say and see if they'll give you permission to go abroad after you finish your senior design requirement. So again, here's the study abroad office. Okay, so finding classes. Again, I would say to start at the study abroad website. And then after that, on the study abroad website, there's this past approved courses for engineering students. So somebody crunched a bunch of data and made this for us. It lists every single class that an engineering student may or may not have to take. Let's see. And a bunch of different types of courses as well from all different types of majors. And you can kind of use this as a reference for what host university might have the most amount of classes for your major. And then of course, UCAP also has their own past approved course list. This can be public course catalog. So you can sort by country, program, UC subject, and this is another way. This is like another resource to find past approved courses. I will note that so for these courses, for the past approved engineering courses, as well as the past approved UC EAP course catalog, you have to get your class reapproved every year. And the reason why we do that is because the classes change from year to year. And so a syllabus that was approved in a previous year may not be approved again by faculty in the current year. So you do have to check so you do have to recheck courses that are listed on those resources. And there we provide engineering a pre-departure packet. And if you're planning to study abroad, you need to fill this out. But it's just a way to help you organize it's a way to help you organize your courses when you're looking for courses to be approved. So once you find once you find, first of all, a host university, and then you go to their catalog and find some classes that you might be interested in, then you can start filling this out. Essentially, you'll be looking for a UCI course that's equivalent, to the abroad course that you want to take. And I'll give an example in just a bit. But once you find that, you need to include the course description as well as a link to the syllabus, and then your own justification as to why you believe this course will count for the UCI class. And then this form will be sent to your advisor, who will send it to faculty, and then the faculty, essentially your professors, will have to approve whether or not they think this course counts for that. And so here's just an example of finding a class. What I would do is start at the UCAP website. So let's say you want to go to Yonsei University. I would go down to the place where it says course catalogs and resources. And then let's just do this right now. I'm picking Yonsei because I know that it's a little bit easier for me to go through the catalog. Academics. So UCAP course catalog. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. Okay, let's keep going while I load. So So this is an example of their course catalog. And say I only speak English, which I mean, I only speak English. So I could check off this little box. Not every university has something like that, but um, thankfully they do. And let's say I wanted to take like a DSP class. So looking at their course catalog, it says digital signal processing. Maybe I want to take a class like EECS 152A, which is a DSP class. Then I would click through, take a look at the course descriptions. So this is the course description for 152A. Just looking at some of the keywords, we can see some similarities, like maybe Z transforms, like convolution or Fourier transforms. So this would be here. Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay, let's say undergraduate program, university, college. Let's say we want to do College of Engineering. Let's say we want to do mechanical engineering. I'll search courses and see. So here is a thermodynamics course right here. And we can take a look at the syllabus here. And so yeah, here's a, I've never taken thermodynamics. Maybe Carolina knows a little bit more, but I'm guessing maybe something like maybe some of the keywords on the syllabus would give you more insight into what the course was about, and whether or not it was similar to a course that we offer here at UCI. Okay, so going back. So once you kind of figure out that a class that you're looking at is similar, then this is the course syllabus again. So we would include a link to the syllabus, and then a justification of why we think it's similar to a class at UCI. You can compare it to a syllabus at UCI. Maybe if you had a friend who took the class before you, or you can even email the professor who teaches the course at UCI and ask them, hey, can I take a look at the syllabus that you have? And so I can do a comparison for study abroad. If you don't want to do that, of course, you can just email it to faculty. They're always willing to approve more new courses. So that's something you can do. I know some people just send like huge lists of classes from whatever university and like a bunch of equivalent courses, and they'll send the whole list to faculty to see like which ones they can get approved. Sometimes you can get a class approved for more than one class at UCI. So like, for example, some classes we take here have two-part series. I guess one example would be, again, digital signal processing is a two-part class at UCI. It might be only there might only be one class at Yonsei because it is semester system. So sometimes you can get multiple classes approved for one class, if that makes sense. But yeah. This is a very tedious process. I recommend starting as early as possible and finding a lot of different options. There's no definitive way, there's no like best way to find classes. It's just a lot of guess and check.
Yeah, kind of to add to that, I went through this process as well, just trying to find universities that I was interested in and courses that I would be able to get credit for. And as Enoch mentioned, it is a tedious process, but once you kind of just start looking at different catalogs, you get the hang of it. I would definitely recommend spreadsheets if you're comfortable with spreadsheets at all. That's really helpful. I kind of looked at 3 of my top countries, and then I picked 2 or 3 universities within those countries, and then I started looking at the courses and then just doing those syllabus comparisons. It's really nice to use course descriptions, so we have that on our catalog, but if there's keywords that you think might be able to be applied to a course that aren't showing in the course description, as Enoch said, definitely check the syllabus. You can reach out to people that have taken a similar course and try to get anything that aligns with it. So it's kind of a tedious process, but like I said, just try to stay organized. And we do have lots of really great resources out there, and we also offer advising ourselves on study abroad. So if you have questions, we're here to help. If you want to study abroad, we really are here to support you. So there's definitely lots of things we can do to help.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this is approval for engineering courses. For GE courses, it's much more flexible. Usually you just ask your advisor, hey, does this GE count for this category? And they'll say like yes or no. Okay, question. If we wanted to study abroad in the spring, would you recommend trying to find a school that goes on the quarter system or try to fit our classes into the semester system? That is dependent on the host university. So for example, I believe somebody asked about Tohoku earlier. So I had a friend, she did the research program. It was called the Spring Research Program in Japan. And for the Japanese school system, they start school during the time that she started her program coincidentally was the first week of our spring break here, if that makes sense. So depending on your program, you can fit it into our quarter system, even if it is a semester system. I guess another example is like in Australia, they take school during the summer and they are on break during the winter because they're on the other side of the world, which has opposite seasons. But if you did want to study abroad in the spring, depending on what program you take, it would essentially you would have to try to fit as many classes as you can from 2 quarters into 1 semester. And this is pretty hard to do, which is why usually we recommend students not to study abroad in the spring. But if it is the option that you choose to take, I would recommend, of course, talking to an advisor, but also just taking a look at your different options. Maybe you'll have to take a couple of extra courses during your senior year instead of taking them during your junior year. Or because there's always ways that you can push classes around to make it fit in. But yeah, or maybe you'll have to end up taking summer, like UCI summer session, just to make up for that. But I think we're coming to the end here. Last but not least, there's deadlines. I think all the deadlines are passed by now for most of the programs. And honestly, I don't think you want to be traveling right now anyways. So, but this is here. This is on the UCAP website. It's just lists every single deadline for all the UC Education Abroad programs. But yeah. Okay, so I guess this is my information. This is no longer accurate, but you're welcome to email me if you have any questions, concerns, or anything like that. Thank you all for coming today. And if there are any more questions, feel free to ask them. I'll stick around for a little bit. Let's see, so can you take technical electives abroad? Yes, so some classes that are abroad, for example, if you do a research program, you might be able to get technical elective credit for it. So even if the class is not specifically counting for an equivalent UCI course, you might be able to talk to your advisor and they'll give you technical elective credit for a class that doesn't have a topic with a UCI association. If that makes sense. So technical electives are actually pretty flexible for study abroad. So the PowerPoint, let's see, if you RSVP'd, I sent out an email before this presentation. I'll send out another one after this presentation with a link to the PowerPoint again. Otherwise, you can always find it on the undergrad website. Let's see. So actually, if we just go to the undergrad website, and we go to study abroad, and we go down here to study abroad workshop presentation, there's a link to this specific presentation. with a bunch of links, and hopefully, I mean, I hope you can use this as a resource just to help you look for classes. Does UCIP give some priority to students that are in their last year or for their degree? I plan on finishing off my degree, studying abroad, so this is my last chance to do so. Do they give priority? Typically, anybody who applies, as long as you meet the requirements, is accepted. I have yet to meet someone who was not accepted to a program that they qualified for. Usually there's a class level as well as a GPA requirement on the UC EAP website for specific programs. And if you meet those, it's very likely that you will be accepted. I don't want to say it's 100% because I don't want to promise you anything, but that has been my experience. Okay, well, if there are no more questions, I will end this here. Oh, here's another one. So my major is material science and engineering, and there are not as many MSc majors compared to civil, mechanical, or aerospace. I did not find any of my major classes on pass-approved courses. For engineering, what do you recommend considering my major may be more limited? So as a material science major, you take a lot of classes that overlap with mechanical engineers. And you can take a look at what pass-approved courses were approved for mechanical engineers. So well, I don't know exactly what classes you have to take, but I believe there is a fair amount of overlap. And so you can look at classes for other majors. So for example, if you're mechanical engineering, civil engineering, aerospace, material science, environmental, you all take this like the same core, like thermodynamics, dynamics, statics types of classes. So you can look at another major and pick classes that you have to take from their major, if that makes sense. If you're still unable to find courses, then unfortunately you'll have to do some of your own research, which I know is very time consuming and kind of hard, but yeah. Where are we supposed to receive some confirmation for completing an app? I sent one and once reported, but I didn't get an email after I submitted it. Okay. For UCIP, if your application was received on the UCIP application portal, your application should be confirmed. If you have questions about that, I would say reach out to the Study Abroad Center. Just shoot them an email and say like, hey, what's this, do you have it? Can you give me an update on the status of my application? Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to stop recording now.